start my presentation now. And welcome to join us for today's Functional Thursday. And I will introduce you how to hacking the SpiderMonkey. And before that, I of course will show some overview of this JS engine used in Firefox. And for anyone don't know the picture there, it's because catch a monkey in Chinese means to catch a cheating husband. So it's just a memory. Yeah, I would like to put it when I thought of the title. Yeah. And today we will our agenda is like this. And before we start hacking the engine itself, I will spend some time to introduce you about the SpiderMonkey and some useful resources to make you to check the code more easily. Okay, and I will have a live demo to show you how to trace a bug in the SpiderMonkey. Yeah. Okay. First, we should take a look at how JavaScript be executed in the JavaScript engine. Your JavaScript code, basically the script itself, will be parsed by the SpiderMonkey's parser. And then it will be made as AST. I think you will not be familiar with that, so I will just skip this part. And after that, your code will be turned into some bytecode. Actually, we call it OP code in the SpiderMonkey. And this is a very traditional path for how an interpreter works. And because this is a slow path, the new generation script engines like SpiderMonkey, they have other sub-engines named JIT. And those engines will catch the compiled bytecodes. And if the next time if the code in the Firefox hits such cache, it will directly put those already compiled machine code to the CPU, and the CPU will execute that. And in the latest script engines, they all have at least 2 layers of the JIT. It's because with the second layer, we can do more optimization. But because it takes some more time than the first layer JIT engine, so we have a fallback mechanism. That is, if the bytecode gets executed in the first JIT, and the first JIT will try to send it to the second one named SpiderMonkey. And the SpiderMonkey will try to optimization this code and cache them. But you know that the script engine will, meanwhile, it will send another piece of code into the baseline JIT, namely the first layer JIT. So if the SpiderMonkey cannot compile at time, it will fall back to the baseline JIT. So that's why we have at least 3 layers to execute your bytecode. One is the most plain old interpreter. It will run it. And the second one, the baseline JIT, will do few optimization and then run it in CPU. And the SpiderMonkey will do some heavy optimization and run it if it can do that successful. Yeah. So far, do you have any question? Okay. Okay. So there are some details in this picture, but there is a link. So after the session, I will put this slide on the website so you can just check it. And basically today we will only focus on the interpreter itself, not the JIT engine. But JIT engine is the current very discussed issues on the forum or on the technical news. Because like Apple, they try to implement the 4th layer of the JIT engine. Yeah. So the more layers you got, the fast, in theory, the faster your code will be. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Because I passed the message about that, I will hope you can join me to try to hack that. So the DSR is Mozilla's code-based reference website, and it will look like that. So you can see there is a search bar on the website, and you can search any code in JavaScript or in C++, and you can just search the definition and the declaration or something like that. Here is an example of the form of iterator implementation in SpiderMonkey, and I think I can just show it now. Sorry. The resolution still open. I cannot minimize it. No. Wait. Okay. So if we can, okay. The URL is dsr.mozilla.org. Sorry, I cannot zoom out much. dxr.mozilla.org. If you want to give it a try, yeah. And if this is a code for the ES6 feature, the form of iterator. And if I click any functions like this, it will jump out a menu. So if you want to look up the definition of invoke args, you can just click the jump to a definition, and it will highlight as this. So we can check the details of this function. But this is limited because if you have macro, the DSR cannot direct you to there correctly. Yeah. But anyway, it's still a good tool to, especially when you are tracing the JavaScript path. Yeah. So if you want to try to hack SpiderMonkey, this is a good reference. Yeah. Any question? Okay. Okay. If you take a look at the DSR, you will find it under the Mozilla Central, and there is another directory not in your repo. Its name is source. Basically, it means all the source code in the Mozilla Central. And under the source directory, there is a subdirectory named JS. It's a SpiderMonkey. Yeah. Okay. And if you already tried to build it, there is a little trick to build it faster. That is, if you configure without yeah, it's Intel, but it means internalization. Yeah, because this API will be built before the JavaScript engine, and if you don't disable it, it will take you maybe 10 minutes. So you can reduce the time to build the engine. Yeah. And if you want to generate the debug build, you need to enable debug and disable open define. Yeah. Another trick is that if you want to build a pool Firefox browser and enable the debug build of the JavaScript engine, namely without the JIT, you need to do this. You need to change two prefs in the default pref. The file and the URL is like that, and you can just check it later. But the point is, if you don't do this, and you try to trace JavaScript from the browser's console, sometimes it will enter the JIT, and you will see lot of assembly code, and it's hard to debug. Yeah. Okay, that's a basic trick that I can help you to make it more easily to debug now. Yeah. Okay. So before I start the live demo and help you to hack it, I think I should do some simple introduction about how JavaScript go from the console to the engine. Okay. So if you already built that, there is one JS shell under your target directory like that. And if you already have the file, you can try to execute that. Yeah. Anyone? Okay. If anyone tried out with some problem, you can just raise your hand. Okay. And it will drop you in the shell. And you need to note that there is no down and no JIT if you choose the debug build. And it is with some debug function to help you to debug the JavaScript. But no down means you cannot use any APIs that under the document or window because there is no window and no down. And if you want to debug things prefixed with document, you need to build the whole file fast. And with its inspector, that will work, but it's a painful process. So I do not recommend that if you just only try to hack the SpiderMonkey. Yeah. Okay. So if you have the shell, you can just try this very simple example that it is to disassemble one anonymous function like that. So in this example, the function body is like this. It's just an empty function, and then it's only do just a simple operation of A. And this function you cannot find that in your browser because it's a JavaScript shell only, and only for debug build. So if you did such function, it will print out all the OP code of such function. And the source nodes are for the debug, so let's just ignore it now. And we can just take a look at the OP code. Just like all the classic state machine, you will see the engine will try to get a name of A and B, and then call the add operator, and then pop out the result of A plus B. And because I didn't put the return in it, so it will just return nothing. Yeah. But I think if I do that, there will be some more steps about put the return value at the proper place of the state, and then return it. Any problem? Question? Okay. Okay. Let's take a further look at this function. This function is actually defined in a file named shell, and under the shell directory, and its name is js.cpp. And in that file, it's a huge file because these are the 5,000 lines. You can see a lot of definition about this help function in JS shell. And we use a macro named JS fn help to define the JavaScript function and bind it with the C++ implementation. So in this example, you can see that this is the name in JavaScript, and this disassemble is the C++ implementation of such function. And then it needs to indicate that this function is with one argument. So there's one. And the flux, you can just ignore it now. And there's a usage input that you can see it in this shell. Yeah. But that's not important. And because we bind the JavaScript function this as a disassemble C++ implementation, so we can expect there is a C++ code for that. And here it is. So you can find it in the same file, but it's at near 2,500 line. And you can see that it will receive a JavaScript context and the argument, how much argument this function will receive, and the actual argument. So you can take a look at that. Every JavaScript related function will all receive the JavaScript context. It's because it needs to get some information from the state and other things composed in the context. So there is another very typical manipulation for the C+ implementation is that it will need to find out where the argument is. Because we usually put the arguments on the state. So we have some code to retrieve such arguments from the state. And after you got the arguments, you can just do your things. And the final thing I need to mention is that usually we don't return things except the Boolean value of such C++ implementation. It's because you will do something to set the return value of such argument in the args, code args. But we return Boolean to show that this function just successfully run the code or fail to run that. Any question? Okay. And that's the one principle that we don't do any exception and we don't do anything will crash the engine. So first we will return a Boolean, and second, if there is an error, we will just use this macro, use this function to report it, rather than just do it out. Okay. But sometimes we would like to implement the JavaScript function in JavaScript. Namely, we have JavaScript files in JavaScript engine. So there are some points for that. The first thing is this JavaScript file is for the spec, is for the features that the spec described, like the ECMAScript 6. We use the array iterator in JavaScript. It's because it will be it will follow the spec more precisely. And this JavaScript file comes with some special helpers named the self-hosting functions, and I will introduce them later. Yeah. Okay. This is another example to show the function in JavaScript. You can just try this in your console, and this is actually ECMAScript 6 feature. So you will try to find anything that you can mod to, and the result is not 0. But the point is, when you call find, it is actually defined in a C++ file, namely JSArray.cpp. And you can see such definition about that. Its JavaScript name is find, and it will be mapped to another JavaScript implementation named array find. The difference between this example and the previous one is that we now map a JavaScript client function to a JavaScript engine JavaScript function. Yeah. And the other parts are just almost the same. Okay. And if you take a look at the file, namely the built-in array.js, you can see there's some implementation of the array functions like array find. And we usually will describe where the spec is, like that, like the comment. Okay. And you can see this is a pure JavaScript function in the JavaScript engine. And it's bind with the client JavaScript function with the C++ macro. And this shows that the JavaScript version of such helper will not receive the context, because in JavaScript context is automatically generated. So we don't need to worry about that. And this time we will do some error. Yeah. Okay. Because we use some helpers in the JavaScript, so I need to talk about the self-hosting functions. In this JavaScript implementation of the array find, we use two objects as a global function because you don't see any definition of that in this file or in this function. So obviously, this function is included in another context. But how we find that? The answer is that these helpers are usually defined in C++. And it will allow you to access C++ helper in JavaScript helper in order to implement the JavaScript function in client code. Yeah. Okay? Okay. And this C++ function usually prefixed with intrinsic. That means it's the real implementation of that. And you can take a look at the file self-hosting to find out almost all the definition of such functions. And if you have such flow, you can just see that it's actually mapping between C++ and the JavaScript 4 times. The first time is that your user just use the find function, and then the first byte will bind it with the array find in JavaScript. And the array find will call two objects, which is a self-hosting function, and the implementation is intrinsic to object in a C file like this. And in this file, I just want to show you that it will try to build the arguments like what I said. And then the very important thing is it will try to root the value and objects because root to avoid GC to collect it and erase them, or to release the memory this value used. Because we now in the C+ world, so we need to take care about that. And if the object we are looking for, it will, because we now is doing the two objects, so if there is something wrong, we will return false. And finally, if it's correct, we will set the return value as this, rather than just return it as a C+ return value. Okay?
So a rooted value is a value that won't be garbage collected.
Yeah, but actually there are some policy about to handle with the rooted object, but it's just too detailed for this example. Yeah, you can search it on NDN and there is some articles. Okay. Okay, so I will just quickly mention the such maybe strange things that JavaScript in a JavaScript engine. It's actually a trouble, but it's a convenient trouble because you can avoid to implement the spec in C++. Like this. This is an array find spec. And if we use JavaScript to describe it, we can avoid it to worry about the memory safe and other issues that C++ need to handle. And for the performance, because we put this JavaScript implementation to the interpreter and the jig again, so it's actually just a binder for the C++ one. So we don't need to worry about the performance too much. But the trouble is if you try to debug the SpiderMonkey and you try to trace the state, the JavaScript part will not shown in the GDB or LDB like that. So this is what I try to trace the array find, and you can see there's only some run script or interpret and invoke, but you cannot find the array find the JavaScript implementation in this state. You can just see the C progress. So this is a problem, and it will make your state fragile. But there is still something that you can at least break the code at some C++ breakpoint, and then to call such type of function in the GDB or LDB to help you to dump out the JavaScript state. It's very inconvenient, I must say. Yeah. Okay. Okay. The next thing I will try to show you is how to trace a bug live as a live demo. And if you have the built SpiderMonkey, you can just follow my step to try it. And I need to mention the context first, of course. The bug is if you know our Barzilla, you can just type the Barzilla bug number on your browser to get the full details of that. And basically, it's just a feature that we follow no spec. But in the spec, the type array should allow a generator in its constructor. And if this generator return or yield a value, it should be accepted as the constructing parameter. Okay. And this is some breakpoint that I used in the debugging process. Yeah. And I will show you my console now. Wow. 但是我修到一半，因为底下那个review的理解。不给修。没有啦，他自己就是对。哦，不能做一半。Sorry, I try to split the screen, but it's in full screen, so. Okay. This one. Okay. The first thing I need to do is to check where the type array is, and it actually is split into at least 3 files. So. Can everyone see the text in the console?
I can see the text.
Okay.
Can you enlarge the font?
Okay. But it will.
Oh.
Yeah.
So maybe I
can just. Okay. This is what I can do now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And okay, stop. The first thing is we will use because I use LDB, but you can use GDB of course. And it will this allows to call the LDB to run the JavaScript shell as we did previously. Like this. And it will, of course, to drop you in the LDB shell. And then if you want to try it now, you can just use R to run the JavaScript shell in LDB shell. Yeah. And you can just do anything in JavaScript. And to quite it, you can just use Control C. Okay. And because I don't have time to look up in real, so I just put a breakpoint here. And I need to close this. So in the first file, I checked is the zFriend API that it defined all the type array from the int8 to the float 64. And basically you can, if you are debugging bug like this, you can just set a breakpoint. And if you are debugging as SpiderMonkey, I will recommend you to use the line number because sometimes because of the macro and other things, your breakpoint will shift. For example, if I just set breakpoint here, okay, let's try it. There is another issue that you may not find the macro or some other thing. This is another breakpoint I used. So in this file you can see all the typed array implementation, and they are others. And in fact they are implemented in the C++ template. So if I try to set the breakpoint here, and the breakpoint will be set. Okay. And then how to test the case is I run the JavaScript shell again. And put the test code in the JavaScript shell. And in theory, this will trigger a breakpoint and allow you to debug it. Like this. But the position doesn't shift. So in the LDB or GDB, you can just list the code to make sure it stops at what you want. And use F to concat the content. Okay? And the next one is the painful thing start. Where the painful thing start is that you need to check all the value of JavaScript in C++. Like you may want to print the context, but it will of course give you a pointer, so you may need to check it with things like this. It's all in the address and the constant number, so you may not easily to get out what the things is. Yeah. So sometimes it will better to use the old trick like the fprint to the std arrow to make sure the things you need can be printed out, and without such details. But anyway, we can just check whether it will go. It will go. Yeah. So you can use the step mode to trace the code like this. And I find sometimes this works, but sometimes because the JavaScript stack, as I said, it will not work every time. But if you want to trace how SpiderMonkey handle the code without the JIT, this will be helpful. And for some value, you can still print it like this. But because I'm not very expert in the LDB or GDB, so what I use is only the basic one, and I found that it so far is enough to solve the problem. Okay. So if you trace this code, you'll find out it will do a lot of things, and it will eventually get to the where I passed down the Bazilla. So because this bug is the type array cannot construct from a generator and the value it gives. So the first thing is I need to find out where the type array created. So I eventually find out that the set from type array is a possible entry point for that. I just suggest if you have the page on your computer, you can see that I just to create another function named set from generator or something like that to accept the value for the generator. But you know that sometimes you will have a better solution, so you need to modify your page. Now the bug is in this case, yeah. And because the GDB part is just show you how to tracing that, and basically you can even use that to debug the whole Firefox. So I will not trace all the paths this time, but I will show you how, if you want to trace the Firefox, if you want to trace the JavaScript in the Firefox, I will show you how to do that. Basically, you need to run the Firefox in another console, and then attach the process in LDB. Okay, I now run the Firefox. In this console, and then it will start another browser. Like this. And I will use a above blank to test the JavaScript code. And this is a Firefox browser, and I need to check which process it is. So this is a lightly debug version I need. So I will use LDB to attach the process. And now the library should be started, so I cannot do anything. Actually, I'm trying to invoke the inspector, but you can just continue to make it work again. And then if you want to test things with done or something like that, you can use the console, just as the front end work. And maybe you need to set breakpoint on some SpiderMonkey function, like choose one. I choose the right font, but this is a JavaScript version, so I need to use another C++. Okay, I use this example. And we will try to look at the breakpoint first. Sometimes it will fail like that. So basically, if you encounter this, you can just use the old file and line pattern for that. Like this, and the breakpoint will be set. Yeah, but because it's template, so I think it may not work, but anyway, just try it. Okay, so I should be able to create a tag array and see this. The breakpoint will catch the process at the line we hope it will start. This shows you how to debug the things we've done in the with the SpiderMonkey. So if I have a document out, which is implemented in the Firefox, and it will eventually become a JavaScript OP code, and you can just use this method to test it. But the path is so long that you may miss it in the forest of the down and JavaScript binding part. Yeah. So, and another issue is that every time your breakpoint is stop, the whole browser will stop, and you need to continue to make it use again. But sometimes there are a lot of add-ons and the plugin, and even the browser itself send the JavaScript to the engine. So it sometimes will stop at the version position and continue and endlessly do that. So this is difficult to debug, but sometimes you need to do that. Okay. 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 So the last part is that I want to show you the most important file you may need to know in the SpiderMonkey. It's under the interpreter.c++. I just want to show you how we dispatch all the JavaScript instructions to the actual implementation. So if you have the file or you show it in the DSR, you will see it's a very huge file with lots of suspicious case and end case. Because of the performance issue, we cannot use the traditional C++ switch. Because every JavaScript OP call will be sent to this interpreter. So if you can boost it with only 0.1%, it will be huge increase. And so this is the reason why we cannot use the traditional switch case. But this also causes the problem that we are hard to debug it with the breakpoint or something like that. Yeah. And basically, you can see the pool interpreter is just to dispatch the JavaScript OP call passed from the parser. And then we'll do some stack operations like to fetch things from a stack or to manipulate the program counter, because we have a dump stack for JavaScript. And then it will also pop the result or go to the arrow, because we don't do anything in JavaScript engine. Yeah. And another important role it plays is that it will invoke the native functions. So let's say that if you have a JavaScript OP call named 8, you will eventually invoke some implementation of 8 in C++. But when you trace this file, sometimes you need to remember when to skip this file because it appears too frequently. So to spend time in this file is sometimes just a waste of time. Yeah. You can just set breakpoint on the native functions if you already know where they are. So I want to end the slide with an overview here. And today in my session, I just show you the big picture of how SpiderMonkey works from the parser to interpreter and to the JIT engine. And then I show you the DSR as a reference results and introduce you the little trick to build the engine fast. And then I show you the test shell and talked about its limited, like no down functions inside, so you need to build a full core file fast to debug those parts. And then I also show you the way to make a JavaScript collide function into the C++ implementation and the JavaScript part inside the engine. And also I just showed a very short demo about how to debug the JavaScript engine in 2 different ways. One is for the browser, one is for the pure SpiderMonkey. And the final part is I just remind you the interpreter CPP will be sometimes a very huge mess you need to escape from. That's the contents I prepared today. So, any questions? Any question? Or the part I didn't explain enough? Okay. So if there is no any question, I will just finish my presentation now. Thank you, everyone.